Frost-proof foundations consist of concrete piers or wooden posts that extend down to the frost line. These types of foundations prevent freeze/thaw cycles from upsetting the shed. They're generally required in cold weather regions for buildings larger than 200 square foot. However, building codes differ from state to state, so check with your local building department. Here's a quick look at the 3 most common types of frost-proof foundations: concrete pier, concrete slab, and pole barn. A poured concrete pier is simply a column of concrete poured into a hole that's dug down to the frost line. 2 or more rows of piers are used to support the shed's floor frame. The floor frame is then fastened to the piers with metal bolts, post anchors, or tie-down straps. We used poured concrete piers to support the cedar shingle shed. A poured concrete slab is the best type of foundation for large outbuildings, especially ones that'll be used to store heavy equipment, such as woodworking machines, tractors, boats, cars, motorcycles, and snowmobiles. There are 2 methods of pouring a concrete foundation, but only one qualifies as frost-proof. Called a monolithic slab, the floor and perimeter foundation walls are all poured at the same time. The walls extend down to the frost line and are usually 12 inches to 16 inches thick. The shed floor is 4 inches to 6 inches thick and reinforced with wire mesh or metal reinforcing bars. The second type of concrete foundation, known as a floating slab or an on-grade slab, is simply a 4 to 6 in thick concrete slab that sits directly on the ground. A floating slab should never be used when the local building code calls for a frost-proof foundation. A pole barn foundation begins with a series of holes dug down to the frost line around the perimeter of the building. Concrete footings are poured into the bottom of each hole. Once the concrete cures, pressure-treated round poles or square timbers are placed into the holes. Then, horizontal beams are bolted to the poles, creating a structural frame for the walls and roof. Make a concrete pier by digging a hole down to the frost line, then inserting a fiber-form tube. Pour concrete into the tube to create the pier. This pole barn foundation has pressure-treated posts set into holes dug down to the frost line. The shed walls are then secured to the posts. Precast piers, dig and drop foundation. Mixing and pouring concrete piers one at a time is time-consuming and labor-intensive. But now you can install concrete piers in a matter of minutes without breaking a sweat. How? By using precast piers. These ready-to-install piers provide an incredibly quick and easy way to build a frost-proof foundation. Simply dig a hole and drop in the pier. Precast concrete piers come in various sizes, and each one has an extra wide base that creates a super stable footing. The only drawback is that the piers are far too heavy to move by hand, so you must hire an excavator to lower the piers into the holes. Once the piers are set into place, check them for level, and then backfill around each one with soil. Ready-to-install precast concrete piers consist of an extra-wide base, footing, and tapered column. Lower the piers into the holes with a backhoe. Confirm that the top of each concrete pier is level in 2 directions, front to back, and side to side. The piers must also be level with each other. Backfill around each precast pier with soil. The piers should protrude above grade by at least 4 inches to allow air to flow beneath the shed. Helpful hints. To prevent frost heave from upsetting the shed, it's important to dig the foundation past the point where the ground freezes, an area known as the frost line. In New England and the upper plains, the frost line may extend 42 inches or deeper. In the mid-Atlantic region, you may only have to dig 24 inches to 36 inches to reach the frost line. Check with the local building department for the exact frost line depth in your town. When digging holes for concrete footings, make the holes at least 3 times wider than the post it'll support. For example, a 6'6" pole, which measures 5'12" in square, would require a footing hole that's at least 1.612" in diameter.